We both work from home and have been locked down for the past year almost, so living and seeing each other every day, none of which I am complaining about. I actually love being with the family. There are other stressors in my life though. I have low self-esteem, I stress about money, I stress about my extended family's health, I stress about my job. But I try not to let any of this affect my family life, at least with my son. My wife is fully aware of the stress I feel though. I have expressed I am stressed enough times, and I accept most of it cannot be changed at this time, COVID. My wife and I are open with each other on everything, at least I thought, and we both have our faces registered for unlocking on each other's phones, Face ID. I had full trust in her and never once doubted anything she was doing on her phone, no matter the hour or even lack of response while she was on social media. I let her have it because I fully trusted her. Cut to last week, and I was just bringing her phone to her from another room. The phone was lying down flat, and I turned the screen to face me like I generally do, expecting to see her home screen pic of our son. Instead, it opened to her photo gallery, and I found some barely clothed pics, and one incriminating one of her lying down and slightly pulling her underwear. I didn't want to believe what I was seeing and handed her the phone. But it was destroying me, and I had to confront her, to ask what those pics were. This is where the lies start. Her first response was to just say I want to feel good about myself before I get the bump from pregnancy. I called BS on that and said you don't take pics in those poses for that. She confessed that she was sending them to someone, but that's all it led to. I didn't want to know who or how it happened, I was coming to just process everything. I chose to ignore it for that day, mostly because I was in shock, and also had to take care of our toddler. I was distant the whole day, not wanting to be with her, I wanted space. I browsed sites and forums for info or advice that night. I had no one to talk to, and nowhere to go in lockdown. I barely slept, and the next day I demanded to know who it was. Turns out it was a guy from work, and they had been using their work team's chat to communicate. I asked her how far it went, and she said just the pictures, nothing more. I suspected more BS and then asked to see the chats on Teams and on Instagram. She was hesitant, she didn't want to show me in fear of not wanting to hurt me. Yeah, I know, should have called it. I was getting more upset, but wanted to give her the benefit of doubt, but I told her I cannot continue until I see the messages. She gave more excuses of not wanting to hurt me, but I was beginning to see a pattern. The next day was a work day, and because we share an office in our house, I could see a few times she was furiously typing away on a Teams chat. No guesses who it was. I confronted her after work, and she still did not want to show the messages. I gave up. I told her I need to see this, otherwise we are separating. She came to me the following day and confessed that she lied. They did meet twice, and the last time was a week earlier when all they did was kiss. I got incensed. How could she? I knew they didn't just kiss, and compounded with all the trickle truths, it was even crazier to think I'd believe that. I demanded then and there, show me the chats. I knew she had deleted the messages on Instagram, and the slimy affair partner was trying to purge his chat messages. The sheer volume of messages was telling. I was reading messages for a whole 2 hours, going back 3 months. It started off flirty, then crossed a line becoming sexually charged, even expressing how they would duck each other. She was pining for him on the chats, and what was the worst was that they both stated what they were doing was wrong, but continued with it. Now, we're in lockdown here, so can't really go out, except for groceries etc., yet these two decided their escapade was worthy enough to forego the lockdown and our marriage. We've been fighting every day since. I don't think she's remorseful, even though she says she is. She is becoming headstrong, suggesting that she also has her feelings, and that she doesn't have to live like this. By this I mean me looking through her phone now, not trusting her. She blames the affair on me not being intimate with her, not giving her the attention she needs. I tell her she has broken me and thrown away our marriage, but she wants me to just get through it so we can mend the relationship. Writing this down, it feels like I am being a chump and taking all this. Maybe I am just weak, but I am scared of how our children will be. I love them so much. We have marriage counseling in 2 days. I am bracing myself for the criticism from her, and if she uses that as an excuse for what she did. I need some guidance on what to do. Should we separate? I am afraid I am not that financially stable to endure it, and we have a baby going to be born soon. How can I build trust when she's gaslighting? Sorry if this is long, I have no other outlet for my grief. Update: I have told her parents and she's now staying with them at least for a month. Maybe my description previously didn't fully give the picture, she definitely lied and hid things. She's been a lot more remorseful, she's apologizing for everything, she was ashamed and was feeling immense guilt. She said she will do anything to regain my trust, including paternity test and DNA test. She's accepted she messed up and this is all on her, she's willing to let it take as long as it can and knows it's never going to be the same. I appreciate all the comments about DNA tests, and if the kids are mine, but I'm 100% sure they're both mine, unless she's able to be in two places at once, no way they're someone else's. We're in lockdown so I would know when she stepped out the house. I also appreciate all the comments regarding separation and divorce. I'm meeting virtually with a lawyer in 2 days to see my options. It'll be a lot of work, but if I do go this route, I've been advised if both parties can agree, it won't be as expensive or go to courts. I'm attending both the individual counseling and tomorrow's couple counseling. I want to see where it goes. It's still too early, and I don't want to make decisions based on raw emotion right now, especially when there's a kid involved. She knows very well there's an option of us separating, I've made that very clear. So for now, I really need to start getting some sleep, I'm done with no rest. Update: I appreciate the comments so far. Both babies are mine, I know because we were very careful with tracking and natural birth control. I know when and how we conceived, so that's not an issue. Also, looking at their chats, there doesn't seem to be any mention of meetup during the conceive window for the baby to come. I would have noticed her stepping out the house during a work day. This is what makes it even more bizarre. We had planned this pregnancy, and were having sex like every day up until like a month ago when we confirmed she was pregnant. We didn't stop sex completely after that, just not as often as every day. I am sending her to her family's place tomorrow, and she can explain herself why. I need space and I am not leaving this house. I understand all the pushes for me to leave, I am just scared because I don't know how to start. I will give her demands tomorrow, to give me all her social media accounts, and recovery for anything she deleted. I have screenshots of some chats, but having the full thing would be good. Reading this post on the Surviving Infidelity website really helped, it's a very similar case to mine. I am reading through it and really understand what he's going through. Caught my wife cheating. She filed a complaint against me to CPS, accused me of fraud and wants to take out of me my kids. I am a 44 years old male, married for 15 years, with a 13 years old boy and a 11 years old girl. My wife is 46 years old. Both of us have PhDs, make very good money, 175-200K each, keep separate bank accounts and credit cards. But I have been paying almost all of the bills towards the house and kids, and she saved/spent hers. I have put away about $375K in 401K towards retirement, and she has $300K in her 401K. We have $250K put away for each of our 2 kids towards their college education, $529K. 2.5 years ago, I caught my wife cheating with a married coworker, texts, emails, etc. She denied at first and said she needed divorce. Her texts/emails show that they talked about getting a hotel, but I don't know if they went through with it. After I found out, I called and had a gentlemanlike phone conversation with the lover, who said there was nothing going on between the two, and that he had moved on to a new job and there is no more communication between the two. He said he will let me know if my wife contacts him. It appears it was an emotional affair and my wife couldn't get over it, contacted him a few times, which the lover let me know promptly. I tried to forgive and patch up for the sake of kids, but she was reluctant and expressed no remorse for her actions all along the last 2.5 years. Over the last year, we stopped talking to each other though we lived in the same house, albeit slept in different rooms. Kids know something was going on between mom and dad. The last year was peaceful. Few months ago, she approached and told me that she will be happy if we can work things out. I responded that I am happy the way things are, and that I am not interested in patching things up. During all this time, we cooked our own meals, and kids were taken care of. We have on vacations as a family, and to eat out as a family, although we didn't talk to each other. The only communication was related to kids or their activities, mostly by email or text. 3 to 4 weeks ago, I got a call from Child Protective Services, CPS, saying that they have received a complaint that I slapped my child/children. I noted that it might be from my estranged wife, and that it might be a game she plays to frame so she might get a favorable ruling during child custody battle in case of a divorce. They asked if they can come talk to me and the rest of the family. I said yes, and they came the following week, spoke 2 to 5 minutes to each of the family members. I said I have spanked kids occasionally in there, but when they call me names, in North Carolina, this is legal, I have read. The CPS lady told me that this is not an investigation, but just an assessment before she left. And I haven't heard anything from them again. 2 months ago, after my 2+ years of pestering my wife to pay her fair share toward household and child-related expenses, she agreed to write me a check. I wrote the check for $20,000 and she signed it. I deposited the check back in April and didn't think too much about it. But 1 week ago, I got a call from a police officer saying that my wife has filed a complaint of a fraudulent check written to me. He asked me where that money is, if it was spent, etc. I told him of our marital issues, and that my wife might be trying to frame me. The next day, I was notified by my bank that they are taking the $20,000 back due to complaints of fraud. This is when I thought she might be framing me, with CPS complaint happening a week before this event. 1 week ago, she came and said it might be better that we get separated, and I agreed to the idea and told her that it should be her who should leave since she cheated and stepped out of marriage, and that I didn't do anything wrong. Next day, she came to me and said I will leave, and I said okay. Later I found from my daughter that her sister, 53 years old, is visiting us from Florida. Her sister is a doctor and is a decent woman. She visited us twice 2 years ago when the infidelity crisis was unfolding in an effort to see if she can help save the marriage. So, I had a decent amount of trust in her. Though she is visiting again to see if she could help. Yesterday, she and I chatted about the issues for an hour, and I told her that I am not sure there is a path forward with our marriage, but my only consideration is kids, and that I am willing to put up with this until kids leave high school as long as my wife and I keep our distance and raise the children together in the same household. Her sister commented that my wife had a list of complaints against me, and that it would be better to separate. I said I don't want this to be contentious since we both make good money, and that all I care about is kids' mental state/health if we were to separate/divorce. The next day, she sent me a list of all household items, and what she will taking with her, and what she would like to leave back, asking if I was okay with that. I didn't respond to that because I didn't care what she decides to take. Yesterday, I took my son to swim meet at 4:45 p.m., which usually ends by 9:30 p.m. She texted me around 4:50 p.m. saying that she would like for us to talk to kids that night about mom and dad separating, and she had sent me a Psychology Today article about both parents breaking the news to kids. I said sure, but perhaps another day, since I knew the swim meet will end at 9:30 p.m., and usually kids go for ice cream after that. She texted me back right away that it is never a good time to talk such things to kids and that she would like to do it that night, to which I didn't respond. As we were at the swim meet, she joined with her sister and our daughter. We returned home at 9:45 p.m., and my son and daughter wanted to go with their friends for ice cream. Our neighbor agreed to take our kids with theirs for ice cream. By the time kids returned, it was almost 11 p.m. I reminded my son that he has his braces appointment at 8:30 a.m. next morning, and that he will getting his braces, so I asked him to go to bed right away, and I went to bed, thought I couldn't fall asleep. I heard their mom pull the kids out in the living room and having a chat about something, separation. Next morning, today, I got my son ready for his braces, and my wife wanted to join. I said okay. I hadn't time to talk to my kids to find out about what the previous night conversation with their mom was about. We came home from the orthodontist, and I was preparing to go to work. My wife was getting the kids ready for a play date with their friends, 2 separate families. I didn't think of it too much and left for work. When I returned from work and pulled my car around 5:30 p.m. today, I was shocked to see a moving truck on our driveway, moving furniture. I go inside, and they were wrapping it up. She and her sister were there. I didn't make any fuss about it and kept my cool. In about 10 minutes, they finished and were about to leave. I asked her where the kids are, to which she didn't respond. She handed me 2 envelopes, which I didn't read. I kept asking her about the kids and whether or not she is going to bring them back. I started getting a little upset and they left. I said if the kids are not back, I might call the police. She said do whatever you want and left. I got furious and drove to my son's friend's place where she said he is going for playdate. I thought I could bring my kids back home. But he wasn't there. I asked the dad if my son and his son was outside someplace with friend's mom. He said my wife and his wife met about a week ago over lunch, and that she told his wife that we are separating. And that the kids are at the new place my house rented/purchased, and that his wife has been babysitting them. I was shocked and furious about my wife's planning to take my kids away from the marital home. Looks like the whole thing was planned for some time. In a way, I was completely blindsided. First CPS complaint, then police forged check complaint, and now this. My son's friend's dad also told me that the 2 envelopes were one from her lawyer and one from my wife. I ran back home to read the 2 letters, and the lawyer's letter says that this makes the separation official, as we had agreed to earlier, and that kids will now be residing with my wife at her new place, and that they are willing to consider custody arrangements, and that they are offering the option for kids to visit me weekend once every 2 weeks, 2 out of 14 days, if I agree that I will not use corporal punishment on the children. I don't know what I should do now. Please advise and help me on how I should proceed. I want my kids back, nothing more. I miss them already. Tomorrow morning, I am planning to meet with a lawyer or 2. No prior experience dealing with lawyers before. Any advice selecting a lawyer would be appreciated. Update. I tried to arrange for an initial consult with a 3rd attorney, tried contacting 2 good ones, but they were not available for today. One available next week, and another week after. So, after of thought and deliberation, I signed with the 2nd attorney. Both attorneys I consulted with said my wife's affair is too far behind in the rearview mirror that it would be a non-issue, and that it would have been an issue if alimony was on the table, but since we both make a lot of money, with wife making more, affair is a non-issue. Wit. I met with my kids for brunch earlier today. My wife's sister didn't come, so my wife asked if I would like her to join the conversation or sit at a different table. I said latter would be better. So, she said she would drop the kids with me and go run errands, and that I text her when the kids are ready to be picked up. I spoke to the kids for 75 minutes, asked them how everything unfolded. They said they thought they were going for a play date and didn't realize that it would be at their mom's new place. Anyhow, the kids were happy to see me. Based on my conversation, it looks like they are taking it in stride. Their mom has told them that they are working on a schedule to decide on when/how many days they would get to spend time with me. I told the kids that both mom and dad love them very much, and that we will try to work it out so that they get to spend equal time with both parents. That is what they wanted too. My daughter asked him if they both did mention that they miss their friends, neighborhood they grew up in, and activities. That got me, and I got so emotional. I asked them mention that to their mom so she understands their needs. They asked if they could spend the night with me over the weekend, and I said ask their mom, as I would love to have them both back in their home. This is so hard to deal with emotionally. I am on a such roller coaster of emotions. But I try to remind myself to stay strong for the kids. That is the least I could do. Update. I met with, interviewed, 2 attorneys as a part of initial consult, each for about 2 hours. The first one is old school Southern guy, who was attentive to every detail I presented, was advocating for a strategy that involves filing a custody lawsuit in court, and the earliest we can get a court date would be sometime in October based on court case load. He didn't address my question about my having to live without my children during this time. He said I could also pursue mediation on the side on my own by finding a mediator. He noted that he is worried about the forged check allegations, potential felony charge, and that we may need to bring in another criminal lawyer. He said that I may need to see a counselor to address CPS complaint and seek help toward bettering my parenting skills. He was attentive, thorough, but his strategy not to negotiate/mediate with spouse's lawyer to see if this can be solved amicably, as also suggested by my spouse, if possible, is concerning to me. The second lawyer, woman, part of a big reputable law firm, sounded confident after hearing my story that this is a 50-50 custody case, given my playing the role as the primary parent, taking care of the household, involved in most of the kids' activities, etc. She said she would reach out to the spouse attorney immediately to negotiate temporary custody arrangements that is better than what they proposed, at least few days every week to begin with, instead of every other weekend, and to a point where we can get to 50-50 custody. She said she has settled many deals with my spouse's attorney, and that she has also battled few cases against this attorney. She noted that since CPS did not serve me with any notice/parent plan when they left the house, which she interprets as non-substantial evidence supporting the complaint. She thinks CPS issue may be non-issue, although the mere allegation is something to deal with, which she said I can address during negotiation by offering that I take parent courses to mitigate any concern. She said the forgery allegation is probably difficult to prove based on her experience as a criminal lawyer in her past. She said once I sign a contract, we can move in quickly with the negotiations. I felt comfortable with her, and her team has rave Google reviews, 4.8, 90+ reviews. Both attorneys advised me against meeting with my spouse in person, without having someone from my side around and my recording the conversation. Should I see/interview more attorneys before making a decision? My wife texted this morning offering me a chance to meet with the kids, since I never had a chance to brief them on what is going on or answer any questions. The text said that kids are still asleep, and that we could meet for brunch at Panera Bread with children, and I at a separate table, and she and sister at a separate table. By the time I opened the message, I deliberated long whether to open it or not. It was too late, and I suggested we meet another day, perhaps tomorrow. Should I meet with the kids? Should I take a friend or someone she doesn't know with me? I don't have anyone whom she doesn't know already. If I end up going, I will strictly keep it as chat with my kids, let them know that daddy loves them, and check to see how they are doing, how their new place is, if they have any questions, etc. Any thoughts/advice? Thank you all again for your support and advice in these trying times. Hugs.